Welcome to Sister Elenda, the official Church of Atherios parishioner outreach program. As far as our opening hand goes, yeah, I like it, but we could go cleric. We don't have black mana for damnation. Yeah, I'm not wild. Let's go and mulligan on this and see if we can't get a little bit more card draw. Yeah, I like it. Dark Confidant, Corpse Augur, Falconwrath Noble. We will keep on this one in a Heartbeat, Shambling Vent, and then the Marsh Flats kind of search up a dual source. I'll keep on this one. See if our opponent wants to mulligan past 6 or not. Okay, and our opponent's going to keep. Let's go and keep on this one. And then our opponent is on the play, so we'll go and let them make the land drop Soul Warden. Do we want that on top? I guess at this point, yeah, let's go and put that on the bottom for right now. It'd be nice to have that, but, you know, if we're playing against Burn or something, or a really aggressive style deck, we'd maybe put that on top. But I think we're okay putting it on the bottom for right now. We're playing Sister Elenda, the official Church of Atherios parishioner, director of outreach. So glad to have her in the church. I saw she was spoiled, and I said, oh yes, Aristocrats is back on the menu. Can't wait. Let's go ahead and lead off with the Shambling Vent, and then we're going to go and pass the turn. We're playing Elenda. Lifelink, whenever another creature dies, put a +1 counter on Elenda. Whenever Elenda dies, create X 1/1 white vampire creature tokens with lifelink where X is Elenda's power. Playing its Daretti, Scrap Savant. Knows his way around some scrap metal, and we'll actually cover that in a second. Let's go ahead and get down the draw the Suture Priest. Okay, that's good. Let's get the Marsh Flats down. Let's get the card draw going. Let's see if our opponent has any sort of spot removal. Let's go for the Scrub Land. Let's go for Dark Confidant. Yes, I love Dark Confidant. Then we're going to go and pass turn to our opponent. Playing against Daretti. +2, discard up to 2 cards, then draw that many cards. -2, sacrifice an artifact. If you do, return target artifact from your graveyard to the battlefield. Then for -10, you get an emblem that says whenever an artifact is put into your graveyard from the battlefield, return that card to the battlefield at the beginning of the next end step. Opponent does go for the Foundry Inspector and does get on the Mirror Retriever. And then anything else, make sure we didn't miss while I was reading that. Okay, get the Dark Confidant trigger going. And Worn Power Stone, I'll take it. Yahini Undying Partisan. Let's go ahead and get down the Flagstones. Yeah, I think I like going for Worn Power Stones. If we don't hit the land drop, unfortunately, I like going for that. Yeah, let's go and get that down. We also kind of have a little bit of bottleneck on creatures in our hand. Look at that beautiful assortment of creatures. Anything else? No, we're going to go and pass the turn. So as far as, there we go. As far as what we got in the hand, we do have Falconwrath Noble, which is always good. It's a really good way to kind of witness to people. You know, Daretti, I'm not sure what church he belongs to or if he attends a church, but here at the Church of Atherios, we always want to have some sort of Blood Artist style effect. And so we get down Falconwrath Noble, definitely helps us kind of witness to our opposing commander. Outside of that, we have Corpse Augur, which is actually good. Whenever it dies, draw X cards, where X is the number of creature cards in your graveyard. Target player's graveyard, excuse me. And the Disciple of Bolas is another good way to kind of get creatures into the graveyard and get some good card draw going too. So we'll get down Suture Priest, and the opponent's going to be swinging in for 4. Puts us down to 22. Yeah, sure, that's fine. Come on in. And then we flip Arid Mesa, and then we draw into Pawn of Ulamog. Let's go and get the Arid Mesa down. Do you want to crack on a, let's put us down to, yeah, I think we can do that. Let's go ahead. It's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We have 6 total mana. So we're looking at double black, Pawn of Ulamog, get down something like Suture Priest. We're going to gain some life. Let's go and do that. Let's go and crack the Arid Mesa. Let's go and shock in the Godless Shrine. We do have some other non-colored lands in here, stuff like Ancient Tomb and Temple of the False God. So kind of want to have as many dual sources as possible. Let's go and get down the Suture Priest first. That's going to be 2 off the Worn Power Stone. And let's go and get down Pawn of Ulamog. Or actually, we can roll out a 4-drop if we wanted to. Yeah, I like actually going Pawn of Ulamog. Gives us a little bit of extra value. All right, tap out for 1. We're going to gain additional life off that Suture Priest. Yes, we're going to use that ability. And then our opponent did tap out. So let's go and swing in at Daretti. It's going to put it down to 3. We'll kind of keep it under check just a little bit. I like that. All right. Maybe they're trying to go for a little bit more of an aggressive line of play or something like that. Anything else, we're going to go and pass turn to our opponent. So as far as next turn goes, we've got 6 total mana. If we hit the land drop, that'll put us on line for going for Yahini and whatever sort of 4-drop that we want to go for. More than likely, we may end up getting down Falconwrath, Cauldron of Souls, okay. We may end up going for Disciple of Bolas. We'll see exactly what we're going to go for. If our opponent kind of gets out of hand, we can go for Falconwrath Noble on, go for Disciple of Bolas on Dark Confidant, just to kind of make sure that we're not losing to card draw, especially if our opponent's going to start swinging in. Outside of that, we can build up a really good board state with Pawn of Ulamog. You always want to have some sort of amplifying effect out there. And we'll also try and go for Elenda, get her down too. Okay, so we draw into. I'm excited though. Man, I love playing Aristocrats. It feels so good. All right, get the Dark Confidant trigger going. And as far as, Supernatural Stamina, that's wonderful. And then Swords to Plowshare. And in fact, let's go and do this. Let's go and get down Elenda. At this point right now, we need some sort of sack out, which we do. We have that with Yahini. Let's go and get down Elenda. That's going to be 1, 2, black and then white. Okay, get down Elenda. Yeah, I like going for that. We're going to be able to leave up Swords to Plowshare and Supernatural Stamina. Yes, we're going to use that ability. Now, as far as them getting any sort of shenanigans going on, we could blast the Mirror Retriever to kind of keep our opponent off any sort of action over there. Do we want to get down another creature? Let's go ahead and do this. Let's go ahead and push in at Daretti with Dark Confidant. That way we can get a Pawn of Ulamog trigger and still go ahead and get down Yahenni. That way if we need to sacrifice some creatures, we can still go for the Supernatural Stamina later. Let's do that. Swing at Dark Confidant. I like that. Swing it at Daretti. And hopefully, if they don't block either one of these creatures, we're going to be okay with having them go to the graveyard. They may even block on Mirror Retriever. I'm going to gain Persist. Okay. Yeah, let's go ahead and go Swords to Plowshare on this one. I like that. Yeah, Mirror Retriever, the time, as far as Daretti goes, we could have done that prior, but we wanted to see how they wanted to block. But yeah, I kind of like going for Swords to Plowshare on that. Anything else, we're going to go and pass the turn. Okay, now as far as what we need to go for next turn, hopefully with the land drop, we still have Dark Confidant to keep the card draw going. Now the good thing with Supernatural Stamina is that we can use this. This is one of those cheap effects that I was talking about at the beginning of the video. If you're going to play Elenda, she has to go to the graveyard to get those tokens onto the battlefield. So you can use something like Supernatural Stamina and a sack outlet to sacrifice Elenda and to get her on the battlefield, bring her back out, get those tokens going again. It really kind of helps cheat her out there, or at least keep her in the graveyard. Now, as far as, I don't have it in this particular video, but one of the things that I am running in here is Recurring Nightmare. It is legal in 1 versus 1 Commander online. That's another thing that you can use to kind of keep bringing Elenda back onto the battlefield. I know that it is banned in actual paper Commander, but if you're playing online Commander, that is something that you can definitely use to your advantage with Elenda. Okay, the opponent's going to pass the turn to us. But yeah, as far as next turn goes, we're going to be able to get down to Yahenni and then hopefully get some pretty good, get some tokens going. And as far as she does not have flying. It's one of those things that, I don't know, for some reason, I have it stuck in my head that Elenda has flying when I know she doesn't. But I was thinking we could push past and hit Daretti. All right, see what we drawn to. Drawn to Temple of the False God. Let's go and get that down. We're actually okay on colored sources. Let's go and go for Yahenni. That's going to be black, and then 2 off the Temple of the False God. I like that. That way, if our opponents, something does happen to our creatures, we're going to get that additional counter on Yahenni, and then we can start pushing in. Yes, we're going to use that ability, gain that live. And let's go ahead and get down. That's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4. That still leaves up Supernatural Stamina. Yeah, let's go ahead and get down Falconwrath Noble. I like that. It's going to be black, white, tapped in the flagstones. Beautiful draw off that Temple of the False God. Really kind of helped us get rid of some of these creatures in our hand. Okay, we're going to gain 1 live. How do we want to sequence this one? Yes, we're going to use that ability. Now, as far as us swinging in, if we swing in with the Elenda, we can still sack our entire board state out, sacrifice a creature, whatever opponent controls dies, put a +1 counter on it. Let's go ahead and push in at our actual opponent ourselves. Yeah, I think I like that. Now, they do have Cauldron of Souls out there, so it kind of makes it a little bit tricky for us swinging in. But yeah, I like going for that. Let's go and swing in with the Elenda. We're going to swing it Daretti. They're only looking at a +2. We can swing it at next turn. If we're going to go for a bunch of tokens this turn, I like doing that. Let's go and push in with Elenda and see if they offer up any blocks. We can sacrifice whatever we need to, kind of make sure Elenda's going to escape from that. But with us pushing in at our opponent, simply with the 1/1, it kind of leaves us open as far as what we're going to do as far as sacrificing some of our creatures. Okay, opponent's not going to offer up any blocks. Let's go ahead and sacrifice Suture Priest, get a +1 counter, get those Pawn of Ulamogs going. Have our opponent lose 1 life. Get that +1 counter on there. And we're going to do a little bit of sacking on this one. Let's go ahead and sacrifice another creature. Let's go and sacrifice Dark Confidant. Get that Pawn of Ulamog trigger. Falconwrath Noble. I'm going to start yielding to some of these. In fact, I may go ahead and speed this up so we can get this going. Okay, so we're going to get in 4 for Elenda. Let's go ahead and we can go for the Supernatural Stamina on Elenda on the back end once we give her Undying. And once we sacrifice it with the, return it back to the battlefield tapped. I guess we can actually wait until our opponent's turn. It's not really going to matter as far as that's concerned. Yeah, we'll just go ahead and pass the turn to our opponent. That way, we're going to be able to swing in with a 4/4 if we want to, and then we can get those vampire tokens going. We still have the Eldrazi Spawn tokens, which actually works out wonderful. Opponent's going to go for Cauldron of Souls. Those gain persist until end of turn. Okay. We'll see if they're going to go for off of that. They can sacrifice the Foundry Inspector, kind of bring something back. Choose target artifact player in the graveyard. They're going to go for the Worn Power Stone. Okay, that's not too bad. We're still going to get the Falconwrath Noble trigger. We're going to get the Yahenni Indestructible trigger. Oh, yes. Always yield, and then always yield to that. Okay. Now that's the fun thing with the Elendas. We use supernatural stamina. We're going to sacrifice at the end of our opponent's end step to get those extra vampire tokens, and it's really going to allow us to kind of help push past our opponent, and we might be able, between combat damage and everything else, close it out once we get some additional counters. And that's the good thing about Pawn of Ulamog. You know, the cool thing about Elenda is that it cares about another creature dying. It doesn't care if it's a non-token creature, so we can start sacrificing some of these Eldrazi spawn tokens, get 3 more off the Falconwrath Noble, end up with a few more creatures too. So we may end up doing that too, because you know, we're okay on mana. We've got Worn Power Stone, we've got Temple of the False God. We're going to end up with as many vampires as possible. That's going to put it at about 7 total creatures on the battlefield. It's going to be 7, put them down to about in the 13 range, especially if we swing in next turn and then get Elenda back out there. I like it. We also have Corpse Augur to go for too. All right, Sandstone Oracle enters the battlefield. Choose an opponent. The more cards you draw cards equal to the difference. So they are sitting at 2 total cards, and there's nothing really else that we can do at this point right now. So that's fine. In fact, Sandstone Oracle, this is one of those cards that it came out, like, not came out, but it's one of those things that, like, I didn't know about it. But man, I'm gonna start running this in a lot of my mono white decks. I don't know, it's just so good. If they have more cards than you, draw cards equal to the difference, you know. And one of the big downsides to mono white is you just don't really have a lot of card draw. And especially if you're running like a heavy artifact style mono white deck or just a lot of ramp, you can run something like Sandstone Oracle and get ahead on your opponent. All right, opponent's going to go for the Everflowing Chalice. And they're going to go for the Daretti activation. All right, opponent's going to go for, they're going to go for the Cauldron of Souls, and they're also going to go for the Thopter Assembly. Enters the battlefield. At the beginning of your upkeep, if you control no Thopters, other than that, create 5 colorless. Okay. Get the Thopter Assembly onto the battlefield. That's going to be another Falconwrath trigger. We're going to get an additional counter off Elenda the Dusk Rose, and then another, make sure that Yahenni gets another counter too. Put a +1 counter on it. And we'll go and yield to that one. Always yield, and always yield. So we're actually ended up with a pretty good little vampire board state at this point right now. We've got 5 counters on Elenda. Now our opponent does actually have, oh dang it, I think, did we yield? We could actually go for, if we ended up going for Supernatural Stamina in response to that trigger, I accidentally hit the F2 button. Actually, we can go and do that now. Let's go ahead and sacrifice the Eldrazi Spawn token. That's going to be another Falconwrath trigger. Always yield to that, and then always yield to the Falconwrath Noble. We're going to sacrifice the Eldrazi Spawn token. Get those triggers going again. Sacrifice this last Spawn token. And then let's go ahead and give Elenda the Supernatural Stamina. We're going to choose Elenda. Let's tap out for black. That's going to put us right at 3. If they have more cards in hands than you, draw cards equal to difference. So it's going to put us at 3. Let's go ahead and activate Yahenni. Ooh. Make sure that Elenda goes to the graveyard instead of the command zone. There we go. Okay, let's go ahead and sacrifice Elenda to get those vampire tokens onto the battlefield. Let's be another Falconwrath trigger. We'll be able to return it back to the battlefield, and we'll be able to get those tokens onto the battlefield too. Always yield. There we go. Look at those. Look at those vampires. Okay, always yield to that. So then that's going to give us exactly 11 total creatures to go for. So what we can do next turn is we can swing in at our opponent. We might be able to close it out between the Corpse Augur, getting that onto the battlefield. We can draw a few extra cards because we're sitting at this point right now, that's going to be 12 total creatures, and we get down the Corpse Augur. So if we go for the Corpse Augur, all right, opponent's going to scoop it up. So I guess technically we do have it on combat damage, swinging across and then sacrificing the rest of our creatures. So we don't officially get to swing in and go for more triggers, but you can see how explosive Elenda can be simply in response to a lot of stuff like that, and then really utilizing something like Supernatural Stamina to kind of bring her back onto the battlefield and really get those tokens going. So anyway, if you enjoyed the video, like and subscribe. Thanks. Bye.